Hi there, Kira here, and I've got a Father's Day edition scrapbook layout for you. I'm using a sketch today. I don't use sketches very often, but I thought it might be fun to use it for this one. So that's the sketch there that I'm using, and it is from Citrus Twist from their June kits. They always send 4 sketches with their kits, and so I thought that I would use this one since it had 2 pictures, and I am using 2 pictures. So the first picture I showed you is actually a picture of my husband when he was about 6 months old, and his brother, who was about 3 years old at the time. And then the second picture is of my kids. Jonathan is almost 3 years old, and Elliot is just over a year old. And I just thought that it would be cute to scrap a layout about my husband and how he was a son, he was a brother, and now he's a husband and a father. And I'm actually doing this as his Father's Day gift, and I'll be framing it and giving it to him for Father's Day. So I'm using the Hey Mister collection from My Mind's Eye. I got this as a peachy cheap deal about a month ago, and I got it for it was like $10 or something like that on peachy cheap, and I just thought that it was kind of too good to pass up, so I decided to grab it and thought it would be perfect for this layout about my husband. So I've got a couple things pulled out that I think might work for this page. I didn't pull every piece of ephemera because there was pieces that I just didn't think were going to work for this, but I pulled out pieces that I thought might work. And then the rad on the side, that's like a triangle cut out, that's actually from one of the 6x6 paper pads, and I just cut it into a triangle, and I just liked the way that looked. So I've got that going so far, and I'm using kind of other pieces of ephemera. I thought about having it say Rad Dad because there's a journaling card that says that, and so I thought about doing that. I'm kind of playing with these little banner shapes because in the sketch there's banners that kind of line the top of the sketch. So I thought about that for a little bit, and then I decided, I need to bring in that same triangular shape to the other side of the page. So I go into the paper pad, and there's this yay piece of paper, and I just cut it out the same way I did the rad, and I put it on the other side. The background paper that I'm using is a really old paper from my stash. I believe it's like a dog themed paper pad, and I basically went through all of my paper pads before I moved, and I tore out all the papers that I thought that I might use at some point, and then I gave away the rest of my paper pads. So this one had a couple pieces of paper that have this similar kind of textured look to them, and there was like a gray and like an orange, maybe a blue too, and I pulled those ones out, and I basically got rid of the rest that were actually had bones and stuff on the paper, because it's very unlikely that I'm going to be using those anytime soon. So I know that I want to put on the page, I know I want to write son, brother, husband, dad, because it is all about my husband, and I want to just, point out all of the roles that he plays in his life. So I know that's going to kind of be my title for this page. I'm going to start kind of placing down my layers here and my background paper, just because I know that I want those on the paper, and kind of figure out where I want my pictures. And the thing that I really like about sketches, because I don't use them very often, but the thing that I like about them is that you can kind of interpret them any way you want. They mostly serve as a jumping off point for you. And I know a lot of people struggle with using sketches, and I think because they feel like they have to stick exactly to it. But for me, I see a sketch as just a jumping off point. So you're just, like with the sketch that I used, it had like 2 pictures next to each other. There were 2 tags in the sketch, And I definitely used the 2 tags. And there was like these little banner shapes that line the top. And while I don't have them lining the top, I do bring in those banner shapes into the layout. So to me, it's just something to kind of inspire you to create something of your own. So to take it and just make it your own. So I went ahead and put the picture of my husband when he was a baby on some foam. And I'm going to go ahead and use these 2 tags that you see on my page right now. And I want to use this little arrow pointing to my husband. But I fidgeted with it for so long because I didn't want the arrow point to be going under the picture, and I didn't want it to like cover Elliot's head, and so I thought about maybe just pointing at my kids and then having the dad point to it to kind of show that he's the dad of the kids, and I didn't like the way that looked, so I fidgeted with this a lot. And then finally, I decided it needs to be up on foam as well, and then it can lay on top of that other picture. So that's what I'm going to do here, is just cut out some foam and put the arrow up on foam too. And if you're looking at the picture of my husband and my son, I know the light is kind of blurring out the picture of my husband, but everyone always talks about how they think that my son Jonathan looks so much like his dad. Like, that's all I ever hear, is how much Jonathan looks like Daddy and how Elliot looks just like me. And I do think that Elliot does look like me, but I also think Jonathan looks a little bit like me too, and I think that they both look like their dad. But I found this, or I got this picture from my mother-in-law. I had never seen any pictures of my husband as a baby until Elliot was probably about 4 months old, and my mother-in-law sent me these pictures, or this one picture. This is all I have of him. I have one picture of my husband as a baby, and she sent this to me. And when Elliot was about 6 months old, the same age as my husband in this picture, I was like, oh my God, they look so much alike. And then I snapped this picture of them this last week. I snapped this picture of Elliot, and he's, laughing in the picture, and he just looks so much like my husband. And it's funny to me that people always say that Elliot looks so much like me, but all I see when I see Elliot is his dad. I just think he looks so much like his dad. So anyways, that's my little my whole tangent there about how much they look like their dad. So I went ahead and I stuck down the first part of my title. So I've got son, it's kind of resting in that arrow, and I've got brother on top of that. I didn't have you guys watch me stick down all the letters for brother because I did it with my T-square ruler, and I wanted to make sure that it was perfectly straight. And I'm just going to kind of fidget with these other things. I really wanted to use the world's greatest little banner, a piece of ephemera, because I think it's super cute, and he is the world's greatest everything. So I definitely wanted to use that, but it was challenging for me to figure out where I was going to put that. Also in the sketch, there was like a little tab, or maybe it was like a little tag or something, label above one of the pictures that was for the date, to put the date on. And so I went ahead and I used one of these little tabs that come in the ephemera pack, and I'm going to stamp the date of Father's Day this year. So it's not going to be the date I took the picture, and it's not the date of obviously the picture of my husband, but it's going to be the date of Father's Day, since that's when he's going to be getting this layout. So I went ahead and I put husband right under that rad, and I wanted to have it right next to that tag, so I went ahead and added some twine, and I'm gonna stick the tag down, and then I'm gonna have to put the D on top of that tag, because just how the placement kind of worked out for that. And I went ahead and stuck that banner shape down as well. And of course the D doesn't want to stick because, I've got twine and stuff under it. So I stuck a little bit of extra glue under there, and then I'm going to stick a bowl on top of it because a clothespin can't reach that far. So I'll need to have something to hold it down, and I'll just stick one of my bowls right on top of it to keep it there. There we go. And then I wanted the dad kind of just right in the center, since this is, a Father's Day layout. And so I am going ahead and I popped it up on foam, and I'm going to stick it right down in the center. So now I have kind of everything pretty much where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and start adhering everything down. So I glue the little tab on top of this photo, and I'm going to stick that photo down. And it's not straight, so I need to straighten it a little bit. And there we go. And then I fiddle with the dad part a little bit more. But I know that I want this label or this tag right under this photo, so I go ahead and adhere that together. And if you're curious what the other tag says, I don't know if you can read that. It says notes, and then there's a couple lines where you could do some journaling. I thought about doing journaling on this layout, but I just thought that if I messed up the handwritten journaling, that I was going to kick myself later. So I don't do any journaling, but you'll see later on what I do end up doing with that tag. Go ahead and stick my arrow down because I know I want that there. And then I decided that I'll do the world's greatest over on this side. So I go ahead and bump that up on some craft foam as well. Put that there. I have this little label. I can't think of what it says right now. You'll see it in the close-ups, but I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on top of that arrow. And then I kind of just went looking through my little bowl here to see what other elements I had pulled out. And that wood veneer says Happy Moments, and that's an LE Studio wood veneer. So I thought that I would use that next to the photo. And then I went to the sticker sheet to see what else I could find from the sticker sheet, and pulled out a couple stickers. And these stickers just have little phrases like yes sir and things like that. They're pretty generic kind of guy phrases, I guess. And go ahead and stick everything down, and of course I dropped it on the dad piece of ephemera. And then I think that I have decided that I will put the dad piece there. I haven't committed yet, though. I might change my mind, right? Find a better place. So then I was, thinking, well, there's all these little banner shapes in the sketch, and so I was like, well, maybe if I put them on the bottom, I'll like that better, because I didn't want to put them up top. I knew I didn't want to put them up top. So I tried to kind of see if I wanted them kind of upside down on the bottom, and I didn't like the way that looked. So I just kind of did a couple little clusters down by this dad phrase, and I think that ended up looking great. And again, you don't have to go exactly by what the sketch says. It's your layout. You can do whatever you want. And I just kind of took the inspiration of the banners and placed them elsewhere on my layout. They also had these little chevron stickers, and I just placed those down by that little word sticker that I already had down there. And then I finally committed to the dad placement. And then I go ahead and stamp the date on there. And again, I just stamped the date of Father's Day this year, which is when this will be airing. And then since I was like, I don't want to do journaling on that tag, I thought, well, maybe if I did like a stamp on there, like that would be cute. And so I thought, well, I'll do a couple little like roller stamps, and I was going to do a few different phrases, and then I found this one, Maggie Holmes, and it said, hello, I love you. And I was like, well, that's cute. And I was like, why don't I just stamp it and then like ghost stamp it after I like initially stamp it. And so I just stamp it 3 times, and I think it turned out so super cute. I'm so happy I did that. And that, I believe, finishes off my layout. I hope you guys liked this, and I hope my husband likes it. We'll see, right? Oh, I do put down some of these acrylic stars. These are from Ellie's Studio, and I'm trying not to hoard them because I love them. But I decided this would be the perfect layout to use them on. So that will finish off my layout. So I'll see you guys soon with another video, and have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great Father's Day with your dad or your husband or whoever is a father figure in your life. Have a great day. Bye.